cool new music for the new year.
It's good.
All right, so today we're talking about avoiding burnout, exhaustion, running yourself into the damn ground. So definitely listen through or just jump ahead, pro tip, because we're going to give you some solutions how to deal with that stuff. My name is Todd, and I'm here with my wife and business partner, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good morning, Jen.
Good morning,
world.
Todd. My throat feels a little scratchy.
Oh.
Jeez.
You should go test. Welcome to the Hello Hair Pro podcast. So we're going to talk about exhaustion.
Yes.
So exhaustion, burnout, running yourself into the ground. First of all, let's separate these two things. So being tired and real exhaustion.
They're
real burnout, like when you've screwed yourself up. Those are two different things. And for people listening that don't know my background, I had a gym for like 10 years, say nine years, whatever it was. And before that, I worked for a few years coaching for somebody else. And I saw often people would come in, they start working out, it feels good. They start getting some results, whether it's they get stronger, they look better with their clothes off, whatever their goal is, right? So they think, what do you think they think?
I'm good. I'm done. I don't
No,
know.
opposite.
Oh.
They think more.
Oh, gotcha.
If I work out 3 times a week,
Oh, yeah.
if I work out 9 times a week, it'll be triple
Yeah.
the results. That's not how it works. So I've seen people firsthand literally run themselves into the ground over and over and over, repeatedly.
Yeah. I remember the gym life a little bit. It seems very far from me. And I do remember telling people at the time that worked for me, because a lot of them went to the gym and they'd be going on vacation. Like, I need to bring my sneakers. I'm like, no, you need to take a break.
You need a vacation.
Trust me, like a real break, your body needs that. I do remember that now. Ooh, seems like a long time
So
ago.
the trick is in the recovery.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we're going to talk about that a bit as I fix my tea. I've got this like mango green tea I'm kind of excited for. I'm going to leave this off because shout out again to our staff who got us these great cups.
Hello Hair Pro podcast.
It keeps the tea super hot. So that was like a little promotion right there. This podcast is brought to you by. So let's talk about some things that people can do to avoid that. So if you're down that hole, you probably need more help than a podcast. If you're like lying in bed messed up, you probably feel like you have the flu, which this time of year you do anyways. It's bad. It's bad. I've seen people with some, I don't know if the word scary is the right thing, but it could be. Like I've seen people who have some like central nervous system issues and things after that we have to then work with the doctor that I worked with, and I have to send them there because they're all fucked up and he's got to fix them. And then they come back to me and they're like, well, if I was stronger, that wouldn't have happened. So they just go back in.
Yeah.
It's a mindset shift.
Agreed. So I, excuse me.
Okay. No problem.
A frog in my throat. Part of this podcast for me, what inspired me to talk about avoiding burnout, Todd knows because we're married, we live together, is my own personal experience, which I actually am right in the middle of right now. I am one of those people that works, and thinks if I work more, things are going to get better, and don't really know how to take a break. I don't even generally know how to sit down.
And yesterday you visited the doctor that I sent people to.
I did. And I am one of those people, like if you really are feeling truly exhausted, I think there's a few things that you can take out of this podcast, but part of it's going to be proactive sooner than later. So I had some wrist issues the beginning of 2021, and I took care of them with ibuprofen and different rub oils to help go away. And what I learned yesterday was it did temporarily go away, but the body is this amazing machine that will compensate whenever it needs to keep you going. So what my body did was it allowed my wrist to feel better, but used other parts of my body while my wrist was still ailing, but I didn't realize it. So currently I am in a state where my neck, my back, my whole arm, my elbow, all of them are in pain. And it's because I didn't get it treated back last year. So it's just compiled. So I think part of this industry where it's so repetitious and we're doing the same thing over and over, getting yourself checked out and seeing a doctor sooner than later is really important to avoid burnout physically, which I am currently doing.
Agreed. So one of the things that I talk about too, I used to talk about it all the time in the gym. If somebody got injured or hurt or whatever, they went out for a run, they came back, their knees not feeling quite the same. And look, it's possible that it happened. There was a moment, but 99% of the time, this was something that was coming on for, it could be years.
Yeah. And
years.
I actually forgot about my pain last year at the beginning of the year until I went yesterday and we were talking about stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, now this is making sense where this is coming from. And my body just was like, I can help you get through this till I just can't anymore. And it's because I had a break around Christmas and then it was like, shit just hit the fan.
Yeah, your body needs to fix that. And your body can if you get out of its way. We'll talk about that after. So real burnout, not a joke. Being exhausted isn't fun. Let's talk about this is how this podcast is going to go. We'll talk about some of the causes and then we'll loop back around and we'll talk about how to fix them. Yeah. And I'm sure Jen has some stories in there that you'll sprinkle in for some fun.
Sure, I can think of something.
So where do you want to start with causes? I had schedule first. I don't have mine in any particular order.
I actually love schedules. I think that's a great one because what I have found over my 62 years of doing this.
63.
63. It's a new year. Shoot. Is that a lot of times service providers, stylists, barbers, I'm sure the same, they come in late. I mean, they come in early, they stay late to accommodate all of their clients to get them in. And then they're irritated or they're feeling exhausted because of all that. And they're blaming it on the client when if they just stuck to their regular schedule, worked that, put people in where they had actual spaces, their whole schedule that month would be filled better and more in a way that you can work more efficiently and you're not working all these crazy hours and then you're mad about it, but really you're the one that kept saying yes.
What else you got?
Which goes into people pleasing, which I know you have on. Yeah,
people pleasing is one of the causes I have on here for being exhausted. I think when you constantly say yes or you're willing to do anything, and look, man, when I started training people, I would, Saturday, 5 p.m., I got you, I'll be there. Now, clients don't care if you even work Saturday.
Right.
Everyone, you've got to realize that everyone is the main character of their own story. Yeah. So they don't know. And if you don't tell them, we'll get into how to fix it. But if you don't tell people what your hours are, what your schedule is, they just totally
assume that's what you work.
Yeah.
They don't know.
It's not their fault. And then you're on social media passive aggressively or aggressively posting about your cancellation policy and how much stylists profit and all these sort of silly things. You're fighting these, like you said, I say this all the time, but you're fighting these fake enemies. These enemies don't exist. These people do not hate you.
Right.
Your clients probably love you. They want you to be healthy.
They might not
want you
even
to be
know.
successful.
Or you said you'd come in early and they said thank you and that was enough for them, but you were looking for more than that. And why should you? So I think when you get to that point that you're posting passive aggressively on Facebook, like you're already getting to burning out.
Which is like 99% of you fuckers out there.
I know, seriously. And I'm like, if I was a client seeing this, like what the heck?
Such a turn
But really, you're mad that you did all of this outside of your own boundaries. And now you're blaming it on everybody else when really you need to sit down, internally take a look at yourself, set some clear boundaries that will make you happy. And then you don't have to post on social media negatively. Like that's not where it is. And you shouldn't be attacking your clients because you said you'd come in early. You said you'd stay late. Like you did that. You created that environment.
Yeah. So the schedule, these all sort of go together. The schedule, not taking care of yourself. Or I jumped ahead a little. I was going to say schedule, people pleasing, no boundaries. They all sort of lump together.
They do. Yeah. So
I guess all of these things lump together because not taking care of yourself that's what we sort of opened with in the intro.
Right. It's important. You have to put yourself first. You do this with the airplane analogy. Like, got to put your mask on first or you can't take care of anyone else.
Well, if you pass out, you're of no good. You're of no service to anybody.
It's easy to, unfortunately, it's very easy to put yourself on the back burner. You think it's better to take care of everybody else, but all you're doing is breaking yourself down.
I want to jump in there for a second because here's what I think. In being in this industry for like 2 years? I don't even know. Doesn't matter. It's so ego driven, this industry. Stylists, owners, barbers think if I constantly am grinding, or if I'm constantly wearing myself down, or if I don't have time. I've seen barbers that post like, I'm all disheveled and scraggly because I come last. I don't get time to get a haircut. I don't get time. I'm a bad example because I never get haircuts. But it's not that I don't have time. It's not that I'm like running myself into the ground as some badge of honor.
Right.
It's a really weird approach. I don't know of very many industries that do that.
And it goes back to on you to set yourself.
If you only want to do this for 5
with
years, if you want to be the industry average, if you want to be a 3 to 5 year stylist, fucking send it.
Yeah.
Run yourself into the ground.
But if you want to be where I'm at, you have to. You have to change your ways so that you're protecting yourself first.
So not taking care of yourself can be all sorts of crazy things. I see people don't have time to eat. That's another badge of honor, which I don't understand. I don't have time to go to the bathroom. That's so weird to me.
I was one of those people.
I know.
I would try to eat and go to the bathroom at the same time, which is disgusting. But it's and I would be the one always squeezing people in, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was always doing a disservice to myself.
So as much as I say that this industry is sort of notorious for these negative thoughts, it's not just this industry. A lot of people think that too, and they get that twisted. I think the ego comes into this industry a little more than others. Except maybe like trial lawyer. I mean, who else is thinks they're the shit at 10 minutes out of school? What I was going to say though is when I was in school for personal training and nutrition, I'm in school for nutrition, and one of the things that I learned is that you're probably going to have to slam a granola bar while you're sitting on a toilet, because you'll have so many clients and you'll be full for the day and you don't have time.
Makes no sense.
What the fuck are you talking about? It makes no sense. So it's not just this industry.
No, it's not.
So another one I had on here was doing things that you don't enjoy. That's a real...
That needs to change.
That's a first class ticket to I hate my job.
Yeah, we're in 2022. If you don't enjoy some of the services you're doing,
it's 2022.
You should literally be taking them off. And it's a conversation you immediately either have with yourself, I talk to myself all the time, or your owner or whoever works with you with your schedule or services that you do. And it's, hey, I don't enjoy doing X, Y, and Z, so I'm not going to do them anymore. That's it. This industry has so many people in it. You can do the things you love. And when you do the things you love, you are way more creative at it and you're having fun. And you're taking care of yourself. So
I have two more. And these are kind of doozies.
Okay.
Should I drop them or do you have stuff? Okay. So the first one, let's go. I'm going to flip them just for fun. So charging incorrectly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So here's the deal. If you're charging $20 for a haircut, $15, $10, what do you now? What are you going to do? There's only so many hours. So now you have to extend your hours, or you have to squeeze more people in.
Right. That's where the whole squeeze me in thing.
Or you have to do the add-on a la carte thing if that's your jam. We charge for time at our salon. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to get into the points of it, the logistics or anything like that. We charge for time. Everyone has an hourly rate. And how long it takes you to complete whatever the service is that's the price, period.
That you book an hour with that person. So here's the first thing with that. If you're doing haircuts at $20, you need to stop. Haircuts need to be more than $20. That's insane to me. But different podcast probably. And if your haircut, I don't know how you become...
I charged more than that out of school.
Yeah, because that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
If your haircut does not include a blow dry, that's insane too. I remember when
Why is that insane? If somebody listening doesn't know,
you can't see your full haircut. Now I learned how to cut and texturize all in one, but I've been doing hair a long time. Currently, I feel like more of the platform for cutting is you do a wet cut to get your foundation and all your finish becomes dry. And the reason for that is you can see all of your flaws in a dry haircut. So you can create different things. It's also, and I educate to this for I guess anybody cutting hair. If you're cutting hair and you keep checking each side and everything's off. You're like, this side's longer, that. If you just keep cutting and you don't know what you did wrong, like you're just going to keep jacking up the haircut. So if you can dry it, you can see where you're at and then easily fix that with it being dry. Somebody could have a cowlick that you're missing wet that you would see dry.
Or your part is off. Or something.
Where once you dry it, it also, the blow dry gives you time to reconnect with yourself, take a minute, reevaluate how you just did that haircut and get back on track. And you're doing a disservice to the client if they're leaving wet. Like, you need to see their haircut and you need to give them the whole service. That's my opinion, obviously. And I don't think charging for a haircut plus then charging for a blow dry. No, the blow dry is part of that package. When we opened up after COVID, we weren't allowed to blow dry. It was not in the rules, right? We didn't discount our haircuts. Our haircuts were still the same. The blow dry is just part of the package. Right now we cannot, so that's where it's at. So we offered a different type of finish. Let me braid your hair. Let me let it air dry for a few minutes so I can see my haircut. Like, we still included something with that finished product. Fast forward where we are today, like, that client needs to leave with a full finished product. So first of all, you can teach them how to style it. Second of all, you can see your work, and you're not having to communicate if prices are all over the place. Oh, it costs extra for this and that. There's such a stress in that that's not fun.
Cool. Thanks for breaking that down, because I don't know if everyone listening. I know I've been hearing from, and I know you have as well, more people outside of the hair industry that are listening to us. So I want to make sure we like respect that and break stuff down.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can relate that to their industry.
Yeah. So the pricing thing, and this was me in the past, and I'll throw myself under the bus every day. My prices were all over the place when I was a la carte, like literally all over the place, which
made 0 cents.
It was such a stress in so many ways. First of all, every client was paying something different, which wasn't fair to all the clients. Some people had my old rates from 5 years ago because I was too afraid to raise them. Some people had my new rates and they were paying them just fine. And there was no consistency. And then
it's not fair to you as well as the stylist.
Right, because I'm doing different.
I just want to point that out as well. Like, you think
I'm doing the same work, but I'm getting paid differently for each work just because I'm just too afraid to have a conversation.
Right. Then it's not fair to the client, but it's also not fair to you, because now you're salty when you see Bob that pays
for sure
$20.
I stopped
comes in after Susie that pays $75.
And I stopped doing the service as well. If I was giving them that discount, I couldn't have the conversation. I was like, well, I'm not going to give them a neck shaver. I'm not going to do this because I'm like, they're not paying for it. Like, I became very salty, like internally. And then when I was checking them out, I had to stress about, oh my God, what did I charge them? Hold on, now I have to look in the history. So there was prices all over the place. So that took me another 5 minutes to go look up their history. What did I charge them last time? Instead of just being like, the rate is the rate.
It sounds really stressful.
It was so stressful. So stressful.
Why do stylists love to live in this world?
I don't know. There's so many things within that I could keep going. But if you can have a clear, concise pricing and you know what you charge and the client does too, it takes all the stress off you and them, because they know coming in what they're getting charged and you know that they're all set, and then you can do whatever services you need in the time that you've adjusted allotted for them. Different
podcast, but our system is so simple. We don't have a desk person.
Right, because you don't need one.
No, we don't. Yeah, why would I employ somebody to stand there and do something?
And honestly, most stylists, barbers, service providers, they want to take care of their client from start to finish. So what you have when you have a receptionist is you have all of these staff members huddling at the front because they're afraid you can't book them in the right place, or you're not going to charge them the right price because it's different. Like, so it takes that all out of it and really makes it seamless and very professional. That's the way of the new year.
So the last one I have on my list, and this I think is a major cause for people being run down. I've been there. It's poor environment.
Oh.
And what I mean by poor environment is a poor work environment. Yeah. And it could be because your salon owner is a toxic piece of shit.
Yep.
Who treats people like crap. That's pretty common in this
Very
industry.
Common.
It could be that you don't align with the business's values. Mm-hmm. It could be that the salon is constantly dirty because you are the only one, or in your head, you're the only one that cleans and has respect for the space. I could go on and on. It could be that your employer is being held captive by another employee because that employee brings in a lot of money, and now the owner is afraid to let that person go, even though their salon is a sinking ship. Yeah. If you're not watching on YouTube, I just did a hand thing.
I know all of these so well.
It's more of a dolphin.
If you haven't been listening, I owned a salon prior. So I've gone through, as an owner, all of these feelings that were just said. And it is really tough to deal with. And it's hard to lead a great environment, or I like to use the word salon home, when these things are all off. I had all of those. I had people that only feel like they clean. I had the toxic employees that I felt prisoner to, all of that. And it's not fun.
Not like the Britney Spears toxic.
No.
Like bad.
Yeah.
Toxic.
It was bad.
All right. Just wanted to clarify. For people listening, I don't know. Maybe they don't
Here's
know.
the thing. Like, for salon owners, like, you have to clean up your salon and create the environment you want to work in. At the end of my venture in my last salon, I personally didn't even want to be there either. So when people quit, I was jealous. I was jealous that they were leaving because I'm like, I want to go with you. Like, what the heck? And that's not okay. Actually, a salon I worked at way back in the day, I remember I was leaving. I gave my notice, and one of the owners, it was a 2-part owner, and they've broken up since. She brought me into the massage room, was like, if you leave, I want to come with you. And I'm like, you own the salon. And she's like, I know, but if you leave, I can't stay here. And I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do with that. And at the end of my last salon, I feel like it was like I went back to that moment because I was her. Like, I was like, these people are leaving that I wanted to work with. And I'm like, I want to go with you, and I can't because I own this salon. I'm stuck here.
So if you make me, we'll edit this out. But at your last salon, you had a handful of stylists who pulled you aside and offered to buy out your business partner.
Yeah. Yes.
So that is an interesting...
Yeah, they wanted to work with me.
Yeah.
Just not with that other person.
And they ended up leaving.
They did, yeah.
Because the negative outweighs.
And I don't blame them.
And for them, congratulations. If you're listening, good for you.
Yeah.
No hard feelings.
Hope none at all.
Should have left.
And I think at the time...
100%.
It was such a odd time, and I probably didn't handle things correctly even then, because that was a first real turnover for that salon. But I truly wished after all of them well. And I honestly afterward was like, I saw things more clearly. Whoa. And I saw the missteps that I took to not have hard conversations with my business partner or with staff to help change the things. Like, they were all coming in with common things. And you know what? Good for them. They made their life better, and they found a better home for themselves and salon home. And they're all still doing hair, which is really amazing. So that's a win for them. And that's what you need to do. You need to take steps to make yourself happy in the salon world. And sometimes they're not always easy.
That's a perfect segue into, like, unless you have something else for causes, let's jump into what people can do.
Yeah.
And some solutions. So you guys heard us rattle through a list of causes. Great. There are probably 1,000 more.
Yeah. These are some that are important to us.
Let's just get into what people can do. Let's jump right in. So I have boundaries first.
Yeah.
So boundaries, setting boundaries. Where do you want to go?
So I'll give you an example of what I just started for myself.
I feel like in my head there's so many things, from booking to your hours to your schedule.
I'm going to talk from owner to stylist. So as an owner, so I do both. I'm behind the chair, and I run a salon with Todd, as you know. So my owner hat, when the salon is closed, which is around 8 p.m. at night, I turn my phone off, or my text messages actually don't come through anymore, so that until I open my phone, I don't see a text message. So that allows me to keep myself turned off and be present with my family when I get home. And then my boundary in the morning is, until I get my kids on the bus, I do not check any texts or any information relating to the salon until after I get them all set, so that I can truly focus on my children and on my family. And there's nothing pressing that needs to happen generally between that 8 and 8. And then we use a Slack communication so people can put things there, and I can go on and find that out. So that boundary I started the end of last year, and has been truly amazing for me, being present at home. And I am really proud of that. And that does mean that I don't get back to clients in a 2-second time period, which was really hard for me in the beginning to, like, I would see a text, but I'm like, I'm leaving work. It's my family time. I'll get to them. They don't even care. They just let me.
I was just going to say, let me ask you a question.
They just wait.
How
Holy crap.
often did they get back to you immediately?
Right. And
when are you sitting there live texting?
So I've seen it, and I talk to lots of people in this industry, and they're like, I have to get back right away. And I was one of them. And now that I take a minute and I get back to them when I'm back in the salon, I'm in front of a schedule. First of all, I'm not missing appointments, because that would happen sometimes. I would forget to schedule them because I was just too...
Well, without the boundary of, to take it a step further, your boundaries should, in my opinion, include, here's how you book.
Yeah.
And it's not my cell phone. It's not my personal cell phone texting me.
Yeah, so you
Book
have
online,
right? Or you can call. Online to me is the best because it's just so simple.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
But so that boundary was the first one.
I don't like calling. I don't even call when we order a pizza. I make you do it.
I know.
Or I go online. They have the online.
Yeah. And now I stick to my schedule too. What my hours are my hours, and I love that also.
All right.
But that's new for me, and I've been doing this a very long time.
That's a great one to jump into next. So a normal schedule. I'll give you an example of how we work ours. So somebody new to the industry or newer, few years, without a clientele, somebody just out of school without a clientele, whatever. Somebody who has been on a break and looking to rebuild, we would start them typically at 2 or 3 shifts.
Yes. So
you do not need to work 7 days a week. If you can't fill 2 shifts, you can't, by adding a 5th.
Yeah, you're just sitting around, and it's toxic.
It's disheartening to see one haircut a day instead of to see 2 full days.
Yeah.
Or 1 full day even. I would rather see 1 full day than to be like, I have
absolutely
7
That's
haircuts
success.
this week.
Yeah.
But they're Sunday through Saturday.
And it's exhausting to get up, get ready, mentally prepare yourself for all days that look really sparse. Like where like if you can cut that back, you can feel like, oh, okay, I've got a few things going on my 3 days I work. And then once those get full for our salon home, let's talk about adding something else on to grow your business. Or maybe you love your schedule and that's just where you sit.
So you raise your prices.
Exactly.
At that point.
There's 2 different conversations we had depending on what type of service provider you
are.
Right.
And these are just examples. So if you're listening and you're like, well, I work 4 days. I don't want to go down to 2 to 3. Don't, but work on filling those 4 days. And then if you're...
Don't just add more hours.
Yeah, don't add more hours when you want to make more money. Charge more money.
Yeah.
When you want to make more money.
And you're in a perfect place if you're full in your
And I don't want to hear that. People in our town won't pay that.
Yeah.
There are more people with private jets in your town than you know about. Okay? Just got to find them. So, different podcast. Actually, we've already done that one, I think.
I have no idea. I get lost now.
So, a normal schedule, somebody that has experience that comes into our salon, they have a clientele. We still sort of coach them to consolidate if it's possible. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand.
Most, actually all that have that, love it.
Yes. Now, I understand that could be scary if you're like, well, if I'm less available, less people will come in. That's not true.
Yeah, every single one has been busier than they ever were.
Everyone we've had has been busier, yes, and made more money when they joined us than previously, working longer, more hours.
And had more fun,
more
everything. Yeah, just lots of positives. Shout out to us.
Go hello. That's us. So what is something else people can do? So if you're not at our salon, you need to be able to approach the owner. First of all, I think it's weird that people don't have a say in their schedule. I see that a lot in this industry too. You're like, you've got to work nights, you've got to work weekends, you've got to do this. Now, if you only have those shifts available, that's what you're offering. That makes sense. So if you're an owner and you're like, well, I don't have anyone working nights, obviously you're not going to advertise for days. You need someone to fill those night shifts. But you need to be able to talk to your owner if you are having these thoughts, or if you're like, you know what, I'm tired. I'm working 5 long days, which is probably not uncommon. Right. I'm working 5 long days, and like I would love to work 4. Mm-hmm. Or I would like to work. People are
scared to have those conversations, and you shouldn't be.
No, don't.
It's a relationship. It should be between you and your owner, or you and your landlord, or whatever those are. It's a relationship, and you need to go to whoever it is that you need to get permission to make your life better.
That's so weird, permission.
Yeah. Well, some people need permission. I write down your boundaries and set reminders to keep you on track for the boundaries one too. So just because you say, I'm going to set these boundaries, just saying it doesn't make it come true.
How about this? Just because you post it in your stories on Instagram, passive aggressively.
Right. The hardest part is the doing. So if you're like, wow, this sounds so great. So start with writing down the boundaries that you want for yourself. And we did talk about this a little bit in another podcast. And these boundaries need to be ones that you'll stick to. So don't go crazy. Set 1 or 2, and 1 or 2 that you can manage. Keep yourself
Baby
honest.
steps on
Yeah.
this.
And then you can expand those, but start with ones that you can truly follow. And so once you have them written down, now you can put them into action. And that's where the reminders will come into play, because it'll keep you honest to those boundaries. And that's really important step to like really create that first step to doing something different and making your life better.
So here's a quick how to address one thing at a time. You get a text on your personal phone on Saturday night from
Barb. I don't know why I like that name.
And Barb wants to book an appointment with you. You should have some sort of pre-written out text that says, hey, I'm not going to be responding to texts outside of hours. I'm back in on Tuesday. That's when I'll get back to you. And for me, I'm a little harsher than most people, but the Barb gets that one time. Next Saturday when she texts, or next time she texts outside of those hours, I don't even reply. I just get back to her on the Tuesday when I'm back in the salon.
Someone texted me last night and I have not replied, and I'm very proud of myself, because I will when I get into the salon today.
Great.
Because I had other things lined up for.
And then I would add in, so obviously if you're a salon in 2022 or a barbershop, you should have online booking.
Add the link. Here you go, Barb.
Barb, it would really help out too if you booked online. It's much quicker than you waiting till Tuesday.
Rock on, Barb.
There you go. There's a boundary. Now, don't make exceptions for friends, family,
right.
whatever.
It has to be
because
consistent.
If you're not consistent, and then where does that person sit? Well, sometimes this person brings me a coffee. They're kind of friendly with me. No, it's got to be across the board.
Most of our staff think all my clients are my best friends. And then I'm like, no, I've done their hair for so long. But I enjoy their company, but I treat them all the same consistently. They're still my clients at the end of the day.
You can have boundaries, charge people appropriately, not discount your services, not run yourself into the ground, and still not be friends with your clients. Like, I understand that I enjoy their time. We have friends that come to our salon.
My friend's coming in today.
But outside of that, like there needs to be those boundaries, and it's got to be across the board
and consistent.
So let's get into some of the physical stuff. So activity, you need to be active. Important. Don't be lazy. And I don't mean that in a negative way. You have time. I just explained to you how to get more time.
Even take a walk. It's not like you don't have to go to the gym. Like, that's not your jam, but move your body a little. Do something for yourself.
Move around, ride a bike, skateboard, take a jog, go for a walk.
I like the skateboard one.
Whatever. I don't give a shit what people do. That's people. Sometimes when people find out that I owned a gym or I used to coach, they'll ask me, what should I do? And I'm like, I don't know. I would have to run through like a consultation, an introduction with you, because I don't know what your lifestyle's like. I don't know. And the thing that you should do is the thing that you're going to do. If I tell you to go to a fucking CrossFit class, but that's not your jam and you're not going to do it,
you're going to do nothing.
That was a shitty recommendation.
Yeah.
So I can't really recommend stuff without knowing about your lifestyle. But whatever, I don't care. Like, you're tired. I get it. This is going to help, though. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but if you get up that half an hour early, like, look, man, I used to go, it was like 4 or 4:30. I would go to the gym. I would go super early because I had to coach a class at 6 a.m. and people at 5:45 were showing up.
Right.
So I had to get my workout in because I knew.
Once you start moving, you just feel good.
Right. And the reason that worked for me, and I did that for maybe a year, the reason it worked for me is because I knew in my head that if I put it off till later, well, then all those excuses and things creep in. So you've got to really sort of figure out what you can do. We have a bike at our house. You don't have to get on it for 2 hours a day.
No.
Do 10 minutes.
I like 20.
I always say 10 minutes or 20 minutes and I jump on because I know once I hit that, I'm like, I'll go a little longer.
Yeah. I think people forget about 10 minutes though. I think people think a workout has to be this long thing, and 10 minutes, if you're doing nothing, 10 minutes is amazing. If you're doing nothing, 5 minutes is amazing. Something's better than nothing.
Yeah, just move.
Yeah.
Move your body. Even if it's a yoga class or stretching.
Yeah. Something.
You can find all sorts of guided stuff on YouTube. Our kids watch
yoga,
like kids yoga. It's got like themes and stuff.
It's
pretty cool. So activity. Here's one you don't want to hear. This is going to trigger people. Nutrition. So if you eat like a trash can, you're going to feel like a trash can.
You are what you eat. That used to be a saying like back in the 80s. You are what you eat from your head down to your feet. Sorry.
Or like the 2000s.
Oh, was it?
That from way back?
I don't know. I
feel like people say that still. You are what you eat.
From your head down to your feet. It was a commercial.
Alrighty.
Okay. I have eat and bring food. So also,
yeah, nutrition is huge. And I'm not going to sit here and preach. I'm not perfect by any means. We just went through the holidays. So talk about not perfect. I ate whatever I wanted.
Same.
Whenever I wanted.
Samesies.
But here's the deal. Have some meat and vegetables. You don't eat meat? Cool. Skip the meat. Have some vegetables. Again, this is a personal thing. I don't know what makes you feel good. If you eat vegetables all day long and that's your jam, go for it. That's not bad. If you're like, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Just whatever. Be semi-consistent. And I tell people, or I used to tell people when I coach nutrition, is that you have to be mindful. Just be mindful.
Absolutely.
And that will solve probably 80 to 90% of the average person's problems.
And you'll feel better during the day as you make sure you have your food with you and you keep your body nourished.
Agreed.
It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Drink water.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me. And I actually coach our staff on that. Drink water, drink water.
Drink water.
It's a big deal. I have this ginormous water I drink at work every day.
People love to, here's one that's not, this will trigger people too, but people in this industry love to run off of coffee. And I don't get it. You're not doing, first of all, I'm not trying to be mean. You're not doing good work. Your hands are visibly shaking. You're running around a salon or a shop spastically. Your hair's a mess. I made that last part up, but it's pretty funny. You're picturing the caricature person,
for sure.
Running around like, where's my coffee?
Well, it comes down to bringing in your food, bringing your water, and like taking care of yourself.
If you do all these other things, you won't need coffee.
Yeah,
I love
you're so
coffee.
tired because you're hungry, you're not hydrated, and somehow you think coffee, and it should be the other stuff.
Probably because one of the share pages posted how cool it was to run on a cup of coffee a day.
And a TikTok.
Fucking Instagram. So the last one I have on my list is rest and recovery.
Yes, it's very important.
And that comes when you allow yourself, I think, to do simply the other things we've listed. So when you have a normal schedule that's healthy with healthy boundaries, well, guess what that downtime is for? It's for your activity.
Yeah, your time off is
your
yours.
time with your family, your time with your friends, your time to rest and recover. Those things fit nice and neat into that time. We all have the same 24 hours a day, whether you own a business, whether you work for yourself, whether you're an employee.
Yeah, it's just what do you do with that time?
And
how do you use
choice.
it to your benefit?
Yeah.
Or
you're going to choose are you going to choose to do these things, or are you going to choose to run yourself into the ground? Because I'll promise you this, and this isn't, again, I don't wish harm on anybody, but I promise you, if you just run yourself into the ground repeatedly and think it's like funny or cool or whatever, you will break.
Yeah.
You eventually will break. Your neck will hurt, or your back will hurt, or your arm will hurt, or all three, or you'll have a hip problem. And I will tell you from coaching hundreds and hundreds of people in the past, it's not a hip problem. It's probably stemming from somewhere else, and it's traveled because that's how our bodies work.
And because you didn't take care of yourself, your body's quitting.
Yeah. Yep. It's amazing. I remember back, and I've talked to the doctor that you go to see, and he's super knowledgeable, but you'll have like a problem, in your elbow, but like it'll resonate in the shoulder or whatever, vice versa, or there's something going on in your back, but it's really like an ankle mobility issue. And it's crazy how those things work together, but you can't, one thing I promise you, and we can wrap on this, is you can't escape it.
Nope.
It's just a matter of time.
Yep. All of these things are really important.
So please do these things because we care. Obviously, we're doing this podcast because we care. We want to help people.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
And if you need help laying out a plan, we're here. We'd love to sit down, have a chat, and help you with those things.
And we will be shortly adding a button on our website, on Hello Hair Pro. Drop down on the menu on our website. You can go there, and by this week or next week, I'll have a button on there. You can press, we'll do a call, and we'll see if we can help you
Yeah,
a
we'd
little
love to
more.
coach you.
So if anybody is looking for a little more one-on-one type stuff, or 2-on-1, because you get 2 of us,
We got you.
then keep an eye out there, and I'll share when we'll put it on social media when that comes about. Anything else?
No, have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks so much for listening. Definitely jump on our mailing list. I'll put that link in our show notes, and have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.